Hello, Lucy McCall of Ala Mesa Miracles, as above, so below. August 23rd to the 30th, and a little recap for last week. Most of us were expecting, most astrologers were expecting big change, bigger than we expect, and maybe it actually is, and we don't even know. But I have not been watching the Democratic Party's event, but it sure sounds like there's a lot of good energy changing right now. So it's way different than what we thought. But then Uranus was the one who squared the full moon. So it's kind of like Uranus brings surprises, and that's one of the main things it does. So that's surprising just because of all the political unrest we've had and of course, people are using mainly their words, and what we need is more action on certain things that are very bad, like wars and such. But I've also, another thing that was very surprising about last week was there was a big volcano, but more than that was all the drones going into Moscow, so that, Ukraine is being more aggressive, and that will make a lot of Moscow people really want to get out of the war. So there's there's some things going on, and there's probably things I don't know what's going on, but I don't know. Personally, I had a very surprising week, a lot of different surprises, and was surprised that I even had the surprises, kind of thing. And that's to me how Uranus works, is surprise about the surprise. So I just thought I'd talk about it because I know last week I was like pretty doom and gloom. I have to admit I was a little worried. Mars was involved, Uranus, Saturn, but we'll see. I mean, there's often activities going on that we do not know about and find out later, and you know, we'll just see how people behaved really in the long run down the road. But this week is definitely mellower, definitely calmer. A lot of Venus aspects, which is pretty nice, having Venus aspects. They're all to the outer planets, and this brings a lot of deep change. With Uranus, it brings surprising change. With Pluto, it brings deep change, where you may feel deeper towards someone than you thought before. And with, let's see, where else is there? In conjunct Chiron, well, that's kind of, it's still adjusting, something to do about women's health, and so possibly personal, but hopefully political. There's something going on with that's going to change because there's been problems there. And then Venus opposed Neptune is more like having an incredibly good fantasy, and that fantasy can become art. It's Venus, after all, dance, any of the arts, but it also can bring a more romantic viewpoint in your own relationship, and it at least usually brings a very good fantasy. So it can be fun for a minute, but maybe longer. You never know. Depends on if it's something meant to be. Also, what's interesting is when Venus goes into Libra this week, which is a very good place for Venus. It's its rulership, so it it is harmonized in that sign, and with the aspects all happening just as Venus goes into Libra. I'm thinking this whole Venus Libra transit for a month will be very, very poignant in all of our lives. It's going to bring out a lot in the arts, and in our hearts. So I'm looking forward to this Venus Libra transit. Um, the main transit happening on that very day is the trining Pluto, and but it's still aspecting those other ones. So that I talked about, Uranus and Neptune. But trining Pluto means there's a lot of depth coming out of relationship right now. And being that it's in Libra, Libra is an interesting one for Venus to be, because when Venus is in Libra, we're talking about manners and grace and beauty. Um, so it brings out kind of the more delicate side of Venus. The other side of Venus is Taurus, which is more um, beautiful gardens, beautiful home, uh, everything beautiful, domestic. But with Venus and Libra, we're talking the arts and the creative things and all the graceful things in life. So this is what we have going on just generally this week. Also, Mercury does go direct, and I know everybody gets excited about Mercury going direct because we all think that it's bad or something, but that's just a Western viewpoint. I notice it is changing. Mercury traveling mostly through Virgo and some Leo makes it very, usually more poignant, more like things are confused with the mercurial world, communications, and just all kinds of expressions. But with it going direct, usually that means things start moving, like if there's been something held up in the money world or the just all the kind of practical things in the world, we have it being changing now. So going direct, going in Leo, and then moving back into Virgo, and it's going to be there for quite a while, or at least a month. So we're going to be able to really define some of our work in life, what we're trying to do. So that's mainly the aspects this week. And what we still have in the background is Jupiter square Saturn, which is pretty much symbolic of political standoff. So here we are, we're having that, and Jupiter square Saturn is that way because they actually even represent two different parties and represent two different attitudes of who's running the show, because both of those planets rule the people who tend to run things, the more conservative and the more generous. So there we are. So we'll stop here. I wanted to talk today about Grandilia, even though it's not ruled about Venus, but on my way over there, if walking over to the Grandilia or the Yerba del Buey, I will see if there's a Venusian plant that jumps out, and I'll talk about that one too. So, here to talk to you today about the Grandilia, that's the Latin, gumweed, English folk, and Yerba del Buey, Spanish. And it's something that grows all around the Southwest that I've seen. It's just very prominent. It's indigenous to our area, to the Southwest. I thought maybe I have this wrong, but I'm pretty sure it does not come from Britain. It looks to me like it's a deserty critter. So what's wonderful about it, and there's many things, is that it is very, very sticky, so it's easy to tell what it is. And I have seen this grow in front of like the junior high school here, and I thought, that's symbolic, along with the mullein. I thought, yes, this is something a lot of the young people are dealing with, is the flus, is the all kinds of respiratory things, and asthma. And this one is one of my favorite asthma plants, as is mullein. But what's very special about this is it calms the nervous system, as well as it is expectorant and good for coughing, lungs, any kind of lung congestion. So it's so great for asthma that way, as just a daily tonic. A person can take this so they are less likely to have an asthmatic attack. So it's just majorly important. Now, as far as rulership planet-wise, Culpeper didn't write about this one, but I think it is Mercury Sun. It's both of those things. And that is something that he will do, is put two planets together on a rulership. And the reason I feel that way is it's coming out now in the Sun Leo time, the solar time of year. And it is also working on the nervous system, which is Mercury. And the Sun, okay, back to it, it is heart, mostly heart, circulatory system. But I call it that just because it looks like the sun. And it actually does help with too much fluid around the heart. So it can help that too. So I consider it a Mercury-Venus plant. Or a Mercury-Sun plant, sorry. What is a sun plant, though, is the sunflower, of course. It likes to face the sun. But, you know, there's different things about that. But I was thinking of trying to look at a Venus plant, and I'm not seeing one right now, but we are having a lot of Venus this week. Some people consider roses Venus, but Culpeper considers them Jupiter. Anyway, there we go.